Big Mike here with
Ace Entertainment
and special guest Copes.
What's going on?
Today's episode, we got Natan, Levy of the UFC fighting at the lightweight division with a 6-0 record.
If you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button. If you're looking for a mug, perhaps a hoodie, head on over to IOnlyTouchGreatness.com.
Natan Levy. I'm the only Israeli UFC fighter. I fight the lightweight division, 155 pounds, and I only touch greatness.
We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This haze entertainment, what you know about that? We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This haze entertainment, what you know about that? We the best, yes. That's something like
Hayes and Big Mike are taking over the podcast scene in Vancouver. Get down or lay down.
West Coast, just holla at Hayes. We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This haze entertainment, what you know about that? We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This haze entertainment, what you know about that?
What's up, boys? How's it going?
Good. My name is Big Mike. I got a guest with me, Ryan, and I got an Israeli guest, Andrew Copeland.
My colleague,
My name.
Kobaseta.
I don't know what you said, but I'm hoping it's good.
We said, let's get out of here.
Thank you very much for taking the time for us. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
So, did you play any other sports growing up?
No, actually, I never did anything other than martial arts and fighting. That's really the only sport I like.
Copes?
Yeah.
Now,
if martial arts were illegal, I'd probably be like a couch potato.
I was going to say, now with that, I mean, Israel, we're so focused, and it's so focused, Krav Maga is the big export when it comes to martial arts. How did you end up with karate? You're a 3-time black belt in karate. How did you end up taking that path?
I actually did some Krav Maga when I was younger, but back then Google wasn't very big yet. Not all the businesses were on Google, and it was hard. I was looking maybe to do like some MMA or Muay Thai, or even just straight boxing, and the only thing I found was like by word of mouth, like a kung fu school. And that's where I got serious in training kung fu, then started doing karate, and flew to Japan when I was 16, flew again when I was 18, and got my black belt there. I did a lot of things, but really my focus was karate, and then it became MMA.
Okay.
Nice.
If you could sit down for dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Ooh, anybody alive or
Dead or alive?
dead? I think it's gotta be Bruce Lee.
Okay.
And alive, I really want to meet Schwarzenegger
Okay.
and Sylvester Stallone. Like, my dream is to meet them, like shake their hand. No need for a selfie, but that's cool too. I just really want to meet them,
Yeah.
I would love to meet those guys too. That'd be
Exactly.
great, man. Childhood watching
They're
movies, like,
legends.
those were the stars.
And
Yeah.
also super overachievers.
Absolutely.
Came from nothing and became so big through hard work. I'd really want to, if I could meet and have a few minutes just to talk to them, pick their brain, and just, absorb that greatness.
Yeah. Do you have a nickname, and where did it come from?
I don't have a nickname.
Okay.
All right, so obviously I did a little bit of research, so obviously I didn't come in here blind. I noticed that you have, I believe, 3 or 4 dojos back in Israel, correct?
No, I had them, but I closed everything when I moved to Vegas. For not even when I moved, the first time I left just to travel and fight, and I knew I didn't know exactly how things were going to play out, but I knew I was going to be focused in fighting. And I thought the right thing to do, the integrity, is to pass them on to another good teacher that can get their learning process going and keep going, while I focus on fighting.
Okay.
Okay. Who has been your biggest influencers throughout your career so far?
Just, I have a few good mentors, my coaches. Those are like the biggest influence on me. I don't really look up to anybody too much. Like I said, maybe like a few great people, but it doesn't have anything really to do with like martial arts or something like that.
Okay. Do you look up to anyone fighting wise growing up? Was there some fighter that you looked up to in the MMA or UFC?
A little bit, like Lyoto Machida for me. I was watching MMA and I really wanted to do it, but in my mind I was already, 21 or something like that. I already had a few schools. I was making good money for a kid that age, and really I thought like it wasn't for me. I thought that's something that's different. But Lyoto coming into the UFC and just taking over with karate, it really turned the light bulb on for me that like, oh, maybe I can do that. Maybe I don't have to be a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy to do MMA.
First off, congrats on the win last month. That was awesome. I mean, that's a kind of a life-changing win there, to sign that UFC contract and make that big step. How's that feel? What do you see moving forward? What advantages is this going to give for you, training, your family, everything? Like, it's a huge life-changing opportunity.
Yeah, it is. And, you have to be ready for big opportunities. And that's why I'm always staying ready, always in shape, always training. And I think it played out well because opportunity presented itself and I was ready. And it's life-changing, but it's also, you have to dedicate your life to get to that life-changing moment. It's not you walk down the street and something happens to you. It's you making it happen. And along the road,
not given to you.
What's that?
It's not given to you.
Yeah, along the road, a lot of people many times told me, smaller opportunities. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. But I knew I work hard enough to get bigger opportunities, and I don't have to settle on fighting for a smaller promotion or doing things, no shortcuts for me. I knew I was in it for the long run, and it is life-changing. First of all, I made history being the third Israeli ever in the UFC. I still need to fight her, but just getting that contract, that's already history. And also now possibly making more money from fights, being able to sustain myself and my wife with the money from fighting is amazing. And of course, the exposure, competing at the highest level, that's why I signed up for. That's why I left everything back home to do something great, and we're here.
Well, that was my next question, was going to be what drives you to get up every morning and go train?
First of all, I love it. There is nothing I'd rather do. I get to wake up every morning and go, face punch each other with my friends, train, learn martial arts, which is what I've always loved doing. And of course, some days you don't want to do it. Some days you don't feel like getting punched in the face. Some days you're sore, your back hurts, this hurts, you're injured, but you still go. And this I put into like the karate mindset and the discipline. I think a lot of fighters lack discipline. Fighters that only train when they have a fight coming, that kind of stuff. Only when they have motivation. Look, motivation is great. Sometimes I watch Rocky and I get motivated, and then I feel like I want to run 10 miles, like I got a rocket up my ass. That's great when it happens. Most of the time you don't have that, and then you got to rely on discipline. You got to just show up, because you need to show up because you know that's what's right. You know what starts sweet usually ends bitter. Eating candy, sitting, doing nothing. But what starts bitter usually becomes sweet. What's hard gives fruit. And that's the training every day when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it, eating right, when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it, and plenty of other things, many, many sacrifices that need to be done to enjoy that fruit.
That's for
I've
sure.
never heard that one, but that's a great quote.
Yeah.
That's my karate teacher in Israel, Ronen Katz.
I will definitely be using that one again. That's a great quote. What's
So
your favorite strike and submission?
I like spinning wheel kick. I do it, I think, in every fight almost. And the submission guillotine, I got, I think, 4 or 5 guillotine submissions in MMA.
I think we just found a line for Vegas betting. We have to put down a line that Natan Levy is going to throw a spinning wheel kick. You got to hold it to it. Like, you got to make him some money now, bro.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Right?
Actually, that's now that you say something like that, that's kind of how I'm dominating fantasy football this year. Is because I did an interview with a real football person.
There you go. There you go. So, Natan, are you still thinking of making the move up to 155? I know you had that catch weight fight at 160, and I think you've been fighting at 145. Are you still looking at making that move?
Yeah, I think, when I started fighting at 24, I was a little bit more slim. And, with age and, you get a little bit thicker. And also just the fact that I could never lift weights just to stay at that, close enough to my weight class. And weight cuts started getting harder and harder. And I couldn't do, like I said, resistance training. I was very calculated with every calorie I take in, which hurt my training because then I didn't have as much energy to train.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to move up and start to see where my body can really take me with lifting weights, with training harder, because I can eat more, feel better, fight injuries better with, of course, the nutrition. And also now I got the UFC Performance Institute that I can go there and train. I go there every day for physical therapy, strength and conditioning training, nutrition, everything. So it's just great,
Yeah, they look after you guys quite a bit. We hear that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Your last bout against Santana when you triangle choked him. Take me back to that fight.
I took that fight on 2 days' notice, so I didn't really have a lot of time to prepare. Couldn't train. I just got the call, started cutting
Did you
weight.
say 2 days notice?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I said I'm always, ready. And took the fight Sunday, started cutting weight. Monday's weigh-ins. Then Tuesday night was the fight, so I really didn't train. I was just, coming in there for me. I know the Vegas odds were saying I'm a favorite, but for me, I'm always the underdog. I always need to prove myself. My opponent is always dangerous to me. Doesn't matter if he's a 10-1 underdog. If I give him 1 inch, he's gonna take it, and if I let him, he'll beat me. So I can't let him. I gotta go out there and take it from him because he's trying to take it from me. So every fighter I compete against can steal my dreams with one solid shot. So I don't give them that opportunity, and I train very hard.
That's why we love your mentality, and that's why you're going to be a champion, and that's why you're on this
Thank
show.
So, Natan, what are some of the go ahead, Ryan.
Do you have a personal highlight or low light?
I don't understand. Sorry.
Hey, Andrew, speak to him.
I can't do that in Hebrew.
Do you have a
no.
personal highlight and low light?
In life,
You just
in
didn't hear
fighting,
what you said.
mean?
Yeah, in fighting.
Highlight, I think it was just winning my first amateur fight. I waited so long for it. I trained so hard for it. I had, living my Israel and for this crazy dream. And I couldn't find fights for a long time. And just the fact that I finally got to get in the cage and get a submission in under a minute, it was crazy. I think the second best is like the Dana White Contender Series, but the best is still my first amateur win. And I don't really have a low one from fighting. You know, I'm undefeated for now.
Yeah.
Of course, there's moments that I like less, moments that I looked maybe a little sloppy, mistakes I did, but it all makes me better. So I'm not, so I don't look at it in a bad way.
So there's some stuff I miss. I spent 3 years in Israel. I lived over there coaching lacrosse and stuff like that. And there's some things I miss, but one of the biggest things that I remember was I would go into schools and introduce the sport. And the kids, they would always go either yes or no. And there was only two things that they only said. They either were going to play soccer and be Messi or Ronaldo, or they were starting MMA. You know what I'm talking about there when it comes to the Messi Ronaldo things. But with the MMA, what's it now as being the only third Israeli? I know you had your your karate dojos. You're kind of at the forefront of mixed martial arts in Israel. What have you seen, or what are you looking forward to being an influence on these kids and kind of pushing forward MMA as a whole in the country of Israel?
I think we're a fighting nation. You know, we've been fighting for eternity, what it feels like. And really, I never try and push anybody to be a fighter. It's a very hard profession. But I know some kids do want to be fighters. I'd rather they be dentists. But
there's enough Jewish dentists in the world. We don't need any more.
Yeah, but again, it does good to have some fighters, and whoever wants to be a fighter, if that's what you want, let's do it right. So I'm really trying to help out people, whether it be advice, answering kids' questions. You know, a lot of them like competing amateur level, pro level. You know, national level, and help them cut weight, help them whatever it is I can. But I think soon me and some other good people in Israel, we got big plans to make Israeli MMA stronger. I can't really talk about it right now, but
no better place to let it leak than here.
yeah. But what I can say is like we're gonna try and make the journey not as hard and not as impossible as it is right now. Impossible with quotations, of course, because I did it, but it's very hard to do. When you're doing it, it feels impossible. It feels like you're always climbing an uphill battle, where it'd be getting fights, having money to pay for training, leaving the country. I think we can build something good in Israel, so fighters don't have to leave the country to become fighters. They can still work and fight. Maybe help them get finances, you know, I help them financially and just build them better. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, what happens is Israeli fighters can't afford themselves or don't get the visa to go to the US or somewhere else. And then they're going to fight Israeli level, which is good for a beginning. But then after they get a few good wins, they fight against somebody in the US. Now, an Israeli fighter who's 4-0 and fought some local Israeli guys, and somebody who's 4-0 as a pro in America, who might have 10 amateur fights on top of that, and wrestling in college or something like that, it's not a good matchup. It's not right. So what we want to do is give those Israeli guys a bigger background, way more competition experience to get them ready for that really high level, then try and get them bigger opportunities to fight out of the country, and hopefully someday make it to the UFC. But even if not, help them, you know, chase their dream, help them get better. And I think we can do good things. Like judo is great in Israel, is doing really well. I think we could do just as well in MMA.
What do you do to calm the butterflies before a fight?
Really, I just, you know, there's no way of like calming the butterflies. I think it's natural. Being a little anxious, a little nervous is good for you. It keeps you sharp, right? It's all a evolution mechanism to get you ready for war, for hunting or being hunted or whatever it is. And the only thing that really helps me is thinking, if I'm nervous now, it's because I'm doing something great. Nobody went and conquered the world without being nervous about it. Nobody did anything great in life without being nervous about it. So I just feel like I'm one of those people who put themselves out of their comfort zone, which means being nervous because you're doing something big. And that's how you're supposed to feel.
Okay. Who's your toughest opponent thus far in your career, would you say?
A lot of tough guys. I think toughness, maybe Henry Barona. He's a Jackson Wink fighter, same gym like John Jones, Holly Holm, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yet, not only it was very tough, but you could tell he has great coaching, because you could tell they studied me well. Everything I did, they had the answer. I went for my guillotine and knew exactly how I'm going to do it, and he already had the answer. So it was a very tough fight, but I won.
That's all that matters. You're on top.
Yeah. I broke his orbital in the first round with a hook kick.
Ouch.
I couldn't even tell I did. Like, he didn't show me anything. I saw him throw up for a second, threw a bunch of punches, went for a takedown, defended my takedown, put me on my back, beat me up a little bit for the first round. And then second and third round, I won. But this whole time, his orbital, I heard, was broken. I couldn't tell. He was too tough.
Ouch.
What's the worst injury you've ever had?
I broke my left hand on someone's forehead. My last amateur fight, threw a big punch, landed on the guy's forehead, felt it immediately, like my hand shattering. And then, of course, he was rocked. He went for a takedown. And with a broken hand, I put him in a choke and had him tap.
Wow.
Fuck yeah.
Wasn't that Forrest Griffin that beat who did he beat with the broken hand? I thought it was Forrest Griffin. I thought he broke his hand and finished the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Forrest is an animal.
Yes, he is.
Let him fight with no hands. He'll do it.
What's your entering ring music?
Usually I like Beastie Boys.
Okay. Take it back old school.
Yeah, good sounds. They're from the tribe. So it's a good match. Yeah, that's what I do usually.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or meals?
Just eat normally. I don't believe in rituals. I just believe in routine. Try and maintain that routine in the fight. Don't, it's fight day, I'm going to eat yogurt and oatmeal and shit you don't eat usually. You're just going to shit your pants or something. Just eat what you've been eating. Do what you've been doing. That's why I like the routine. Warm up before training. What do I stretch first? What do I move first? How do I slowly get into my rhythm? That's why I show up every day 30 minutes early to practice, to run through the warm up. And then when it's fight time, I run through the same warm up. Nothing's new, doing the same thing.
Okay.
So what's the adjustment been for you, Natan? I mean, you come from Herzliya, which is one of the most beautiful beachfront cities in the country, to, I mean, it's a very beautiful city. It is itself in Vegas, but all the way into Las Vegas and with Syndicate MMA. How did that all connection kind of come together?
I just knew that Vegas is the mecca of fighting. And like when I was doing karate, I wanted to go and train in Japan because I knew that was the birthplace of karate. Same with MMA. For me, I take everything to the extreme. And the moment I took that decision, I'm going to be an MMA fighter. It meant doing it right. Training with the best, fighting against the best. And of course, I miss the beach and I miss home, my family, my friends. But also, I like the desert here. I think Jews strive in the desert.
Hey, if you really need a beach that bad, I'm sure there's a Vegas club that's got the beach.
Yeah, there is one that's called the beach.
Yeah.
But I'm not stepping into clubs. I'll wait for the COVID to be over and fly home.
Yeah.
Have
good
you been
call.
home since COVID started? Have you been home since before, or when was the last time you were home?
Last time I was in Israel was April 2019.
Wow. Okay. So how was it? I mean, it's been a big thing, COVID and everything. I know Israel had a huge issue right during Pesach, where it went on lockdown for 6 weeks. Can you kind of your family and everything? What was it like for them to be through such a? I mean, one of the holidays that we have to kind of be locked down, and how the country went and everything like that.
Look, of course it sucks. We're used every year. The whole family, cousins, everybody from Paris, from Israel. Everybody meets and we spend the whole week together, which is awesome. And we couldn't do it this year, but there's bigger things. Of course it sucks, but there's more important things, and hoping we can do that this year, like 2021.
Yeah.
Get things right again.
Is there a dream fight and a dream venue for you?
I don't have a dream fight. Like, I'd like to fight anybody in the top 10, of course, but for the meantime, let's wait till I'm ranked. Not gonna start calling out people who have done 100 times what I have done so far. But venue, of course, Israel. It's my dream to fight in Israel. Bring the UFC to Israel.
That'd be awesome.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh, I got a bunch. I love movies. I love TV shows.
Okay. What do you watch?
What's that?
What do you watch?
Just all kinds of Netflix, everything. But favorite movie, I really like. If you ask me on a different day, I'll have a different answer probably. But I really like Interstellar.
Okay.
Batman trilogy. Jurassic Park. It's a classic.
That's a classic.
Yeah, a bunch of movies.
What's been your go-to quarantine snack?
Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
I love it. How do you celebrate after a big win?
Ben
My
and
wife,
Jerry's?
a few friends, go out, get some all-you-can-eat sushi or some Middle Eastern food. That's it.
That leads into my next question. What do you miss most from home? I don't think I miss anything more than grabbing a falafel or a sabich down in Tel Aviv. What's the biggest food you miss from back
Hummus.
home right now?
Hummus, for sure.
Where was your favorite spot? I loved Uzi's up in Netanya. Where was your favorite spot to get when you were back home?
I got a bunch, but just like every day going somewhere else and getting hummus for lunch. That's
okay.
I think the real
gotcha.
fun.
I gotcha.
What's your favorite piece of memorabilia you have so far in your career? Like, is there something that's priceless to you? Is it your last win? Is it your gloves from your first amateur fight? I don't know.
I keep all the shorts, all the gloves, the hand wraps. Yeah, just
But
like
we're hearing when you win in the UFC though, Dana White takes one item of clothing, so it's your
True.
gloves, your hand wraps, or your shirt or shorts.
yeah, they're gonna have a tough time taking it from me. I don't want to give it, but you see sometimes people just wearing the hoodie like on their shoulder or something,
Yeah,
just so they can say they wore it and they can give that.
that's true. That's true.
Oh yeah.
I never thought of that. Hey, Natan, I just wanted, and Andrew, do you have anything?
Nope.
And Natan, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time today for us and coming on and chatting with us. We're big fans of yours, and we're going to continue to be big fans until you reach the top, man. We can't wait to cheer you on all the way.
Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed being on your show, and thank you for the support.
Thank you very much, Natan. I really appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a
Do you have
good
any
one.
fights planned right now, by the way?
What's that?
Is there any planned fights right now, by the way, for you?
No, not yet. Not
No?
yet.
Okay. Take care, buddy.
Peace, guys.
See ya.
Bye. Hanukkah Sameach.
Examach, thought.
Mike, stay on
Yeah.
for a couple minutes.
What was he saying to you in Israeli, by the way?
Just what, like the start? So I said,
Yeah.
"What's up?" Literally, "What's up, dude? What's going on? And how are you?" And he said, "Not too bad. How are you?" And then at the end, I just wished him a happy Hanukkah because it starts on Thursdays. So just wished him a happy Hanukkah.
Jeez, I hope I'm not gonna have to include closed captioning now on this shit. Like it translated.
Fuck, if you keep getting Israelis on, who knows?
Bunch of numbers.
Oh fuck.
So when he said he's the only UFC fighter, that means right now, because there's been others.
He's the third UFC fighter ever. He's the only Israeli signed right now.
Right.
There's one guy signed to Bellator, and then the other guy, I think, it got dusted a couple of times and kind of hung her up. So
Okay, well,
that was fucking good. Thanks, Copes. It's actually good.
absolutely. And anytime you guys want
that was good.
Another
you
voice,
did fine.
Yeah. You made the cut. You made the cut.
Dude, check out Cope's Corner. I have 30 videos of me interviewing people. Like, it's literally a Facebook page called Cope's Corner. It was what I did in Israel to promote us going to Worlds.
You made the cut, man.